Good morning.
Good morning.
I love Elizabeth, oh yes I do. I love Elizabeth, oh yes I do. I love Elizabeth, oh yes I do. Elizabeth, I love you. I love your dark brown eyes, oh yes I do. I love your dark brown eyes, oh yes I do. I love your dark brown eyes, oh yes I do. Elizabeth, I love you. I love your long brown hair, oh yes I do. I love your long brown hair, oh yes I do. I love your long brown hair, oh yes I do. Elizabeth, I love you. And now it's time for you to go to sleep. And now it's time for you to go to sleep. And now it's time for you to go to sleep. Elizabeth, I love you. You know, I've often said that I hated poetry until, I don't know, 15 years ago or so. And we'd never think of writing a poem, but, you know, songs are poems and lullabies can be poems. And that's a lullaby that I invented for my daughter Elizabeth when she was a little girl. She would, almost every night, she would come to me and say, Daddy, Daddy, come tell me a story, and rub my back and put me to sleep. So I would sing her that song, and I would tell her stories. I would make up stories like Aaron Aardvark ate apples, artichokes, anchovies, and avocados, or Billy Brown bought baseballs, bats, beets, and beer, stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. The underlying theme of my presentation today is miracles, and certainly my daughter was a miracle. And there was another miracle which occurred here a couple years ago when I first observed Roberta Arruda play the violin. And another miracle, by the way, is she's here to play today, I understand, so I'm really happy about that. And I wrote a poem, Roberta, in response to seeing her and hearing her play. Roberta, to see you again after 3 weeks is like seeing a daughter gone 14 years. Her tan skin, her long brown hair, her dark brown eyes, her delicate fingers dancing on violin strings, her small nose, her smiling lips, gently pressed together in effort, are all yours now in blessed reincarnation. Her flesh, her moisture, her ashes, her steam, her grace, her beauty, miraculously reassembled, a divine gift. Just looking at me, you may not see how much of a miracle it is that I'm even here, because less than 2 weeks ago I had a stent put in one of my coronary arteries, and so I'm happy to be vigorous and feeling really, really healthy again and living many more years, I assume. So it's really a special honor and privilege and miracle that I'm here today. So it's great to be among you. There's a little handout that I passed around that has the recipes for the 2 things I baked today, plus some of the poems that I'm reading. I'm working on a book called Chatter, Poems and Pastries, which will be all poems that I've written while listening to music here, and of course recipes for pastries that I've brought here and that many of you, at least you've told me that you love. Thank you for that. This next poem, it was in response, just in December this year, in response to duo number 1 for violin and viola by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. I called the poem Bittersweet. A waterfall, tender, passionate spring romance, glorious possibilities of eternal love, pure joy, dancing in each other's arms, smiles, laughter, given with no concern for future moments, there is only now, with unmixed blessing of complete trust, perfect play, giving, receiving all that is available, their bodies yearning for one another. With no question, they would snuggle together in the heat of their infinite bliss. Only a shadow of impending loss, so bittersweet, so painful. And the next one was a response to a sonata for solo violin by Paul Hindemith. And I remember, I think it was David who told a bit of a story about this piece of music. And I wrote this poem in response both to the music and to that story. I call the poem Anger. Angry with himself, angry that he missed his train, that his journey isn't peaceful through beautiful countryside with meandering river, horse-drawn plow, clouds of birds taking their fill of worms and grubs suddenly disclosed, a leisure ride when he can write the lyrical final movement. Anger that he must drive insanely over narrow roads, barely avoiding farm wagons, bicycles, livestock, arriving just moments before he strides on stage to play his unfinished sonata, without the haunting finale, which he nevertheless recreates perfectly from memory, even more divinely than if he had caught his train and written it all out in precious peace. This last one is a response from a May this year performance of the Suite No. 3 in C major for cello by Johann Sebastian Bach. I call it Stream. A fresh stream tumbles toward the sea, singing all the notes available in its voice, rising to the highest, falling to the deepest pitches. Each twig, each stone, each boulder and spider's web, moistened by the stream, sings its own harmony to the stream's song, sometimes slowly, sometimes hurrying to express its own passion, its own delight at being invited into the chorus. Dancing now an allemande, now a sarabande, caressing the soul of the lover so slowly, so gently, so intimately, as to bring intense ecstasy. On its way to the sea, the stream vibrates each object, each soul it encounters, which in turn resonates with its own unique voice with this divine excitation, eventually in one universal harmony, activating every molecule, every atom, every soul in the universe, now living, departed, or yet to enter into existence. Each soul to sing its part in a universal jig of joy. Thank you very much.